Alright, what's up, gun tubers? A little more arts and crafts time today. I'm going to show you how to make a really simple mag pouch. It comes in pretty handy. What I normally do is make mag pouches for all the magazines. Whenever I would get a new firearm, a new pistol, I'll make a mag pouch for it, for whatever comes with the gun, and it helps keep them organized. I laser engrave the Kydex with whatever kind of firearm it's for. Makes it pretty handy, and then I hang them in the safe, on the walls of the safe. Normally, inside your gun safe is carpet, and Velcro sticks to that pretty good. So I take a strip of Velcro and I put a strip across the safe, and then I take a smaller strip and put it through the magazine pouch to hang it from the wall of the safe. And you'd be surprised at how many you can get in your safe. Any crack and crevice that has enough room for a mag and mag pouch, you could hang them in there. But it just helps you identify what magazines go with which gun, and gets them out of the way, keeps them from just all being piled into a drawer somewhere, or leaving them in the original box and then you have to go look for them, and just makes it a little more convenient. So that's mainly what I use them for, is just to hang inside the safe. They're fully functional. If I want to, carry a pistol, then I can grab it easily out of the safe and carry a backup mag with me. But mainly it's, I make them for everything. That way I can hang them in there, easily identify which magazines goes with which firearm. So let's get into it, and I'll show you how I make these. They're really, really simple to do. So Kydex comes in different thicknesses. Probably the most used is .060, you got .080 and .093. With a mag pouch, I use all three. The front piece that molds over the magazines is the thinnest at the .060, and then the back plate is a .080 is what I use for that. And then for the belt clip part is what I use the .093 for. That's normally all I use. It's pretty thick. It doesn't bend or flex as easy as the other stuff. So I normally use the .093 for the belt clips only. And then the thin stuff for the front, .80 for the back. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit more rigid. The .060, it molds a lot easier because it's thinner. So, but as you can see, the belt clip, I use the thick stuff for it, and it's pretty rigid. It does bend and everything, but it's really good to catch on your belt or your seam of your waistband of your pants or whatever. So that's what I use for the back, is the thick stuff, and then you can use the thinner stuff for the rest of it. You can normally get away with like one sheet of Kydex, a 12 by 12 sheet. It comes in different sizes, but you can get it in like a 12 inch by 12 inch square, or 12 by 18, or 4 by 12. You can get all kinds of different sizes. I normally use pieces that are about 5 inch or 6 inch. Like if it's 12 by 12, then I will cut it into four squares, and then I can get 4 magazine pouches out of that one sheet. You just need enough for it to mold around the magazine and still have room for your rivets around the outside. That's all you're concerned about. A double stack magazine takes a little bit more. A single stack 1911 magazine you could get away with a smaller piece. But you want enough to go all the way around the magazine so you can get your rivets in, but you also need to take into the account the thickness of the sidewalls, because that Kydex is going to mold around that magazine. So you need that thickness of the magazine and enough to flatten out and have room for your rivets around the outside. So I'm going to take this half sheet that I've already cut in half, and I'm going to cut it in half again. So that'll give me 4 front plates for my magazine pouch out of that 1 sheet of Kydex. So that'll be right there, the front piece. So now what I'm going to do is just throw that piece into the toaster oven and get it up to about 325 or so. And then it'll turn into a very pliable, like the consistency of a wet lasagna noodle. And then you can throw it in the mold. So I'm going to throw it in the toaster oven, heat it up here to about 325 or so. It only takes about 2 minutes maybe to heat this up. Now my press, basically when I do the magazines, I put both pieces of foam together, and then I put the magazine on top. Since I have a flat black backing plate, is going to be flat, so I'll put it in there and then just press down and have both of the foam pieces at the bottom. I did another video of making a holster, and like I said in that one, you know, you can make a press out of boards. All you need is a couple of sheets of medium density type foam and something rigid like a couple pieces of plywood or metal, and then you can make some kind of a press with clamps or whatever. Or you can buy a press like this if you plan on making quite a few different things like holsters and mag pouches. Normally if you're making a holster, you would wrap the Kydex around the firearm like a taco, and then you would put it in between the 2 pieces of foam. But when I'm making mag pouches, I put both pieces of foam down and then I lay the magazine on top. So now that the Kydex is heated up, I actually overheated this just a little bit. I'll show you the results of that. It doesn't really mess it up too bad. And I'm going to lay the magazine on top and sandwich it right in between that top plate on my press, and then I'm going to clamp it down. And it'll stay clamped for about 10 minutes. You'll leave it in there for about 10 minutes, let it cool off, and then when you pull it out, it'll be rigid again. So I put the magazine in the press there, laying on top of the Kydex, and it was facing toward the left. And that's something you need to decide for yourself, which direction you want your magazine to be in your mag pouch. When I reach for it, I'm right-handed, obviously, so when I reach for the magazine, I want my index finger to run along the front edge of the magazine. So when I pull it out of the mag pouch, it's ready to go right into the mag well of the firearm. That's why I put it in there that way. If you're left-handed, you would probably face the magazine toward the right when you put it in the press. But that's what you need to make sure you get that right, because if you don't, then your magazine will be in your mag pouch wrong and you'll have to flip it before you put it in the firearm. So just make sure you're orientating it right when you put it in the press. If you do it wrong, all you got to do is heat the Kydex back up and it'll get soft again, and then you can reform it. But it's nice to get that right on the first try. So just make sure you put it in the press the correct way. I put it in facing left because I'm right-handed, and so I want it to come out of the mag pouch with my index finger running down the front of the magazine, so it's easier and in the right orientation for it to go right into the mag well of the firearm. Now my belt clip, or slash paddle, whatever you want to call it, I did the same thing in the video where I made the holster, and you can refer back to that if you want to look. It's very simple. You just get a piece of Kydex the same width as your mag pouch, and then you heat it up and you bend it over. You can make your belt paddles or belt clips however you want to. There's a million different ways you could do this. Just the way that I've been doing it. And you just need a piece, like I said, the width of your mag pouch, and then you heat it up. And I normally do these with just a heat gun. I heat it up with a heat gun, bend it over the way I want, and then the length is all dependent on your belt width, or however much width you want there for your belt to go through. You can do that. It's very easy just to heat this up over and over and over. You can do it several times. If it's too long, you can heat it up, cut it off, bend it again. So the back belt clip is very easy to do. But that's normally the way I've been doing them, is just making just a little belt paddle / clip thing like that. It works really good. This is a double mag pouch that I just made for my SIG P239, and I'm going to heat it up in the middle and bend it slightly. Now that I've got it made, I can just heat it in the center on the front and the back with a heat gun, and then just bend it to where like just curve right around your hip there. And I'll make like a little double belt clip thing for it with 2 little skinny hooks on each side, probably is how I'm going to do this one. But just wanted to show you this. I mean, the possibilities are endless with Kydex. You can make whatever you want. It's real easy to work with. It cuts really easy. Like I said, you heat it up and it's very flexible, so you can do all kinds of stuff. Okay, so we got the piece of Kydex out of the mold, and as you can see, that's the little lines there as I had left it in the toaster oven a little bit too long. It made some little stripes where the bars were on the toaster oven. It's no big deal. Once I get this cut and everything done, run a little bit of rim oil or brake free or something on a rag and wipe it down. You won't even be able to tell that, but that's where the stripes are coming from, is I left it in the toaster oven just a touch too long. But this is what it looks like when it comes out of the toaster oven after it's cooled off. So it's rigid again. So what I'm going to do is, the first hole that I'm going to do is going to be just a center bottom. I didn't want me to just eyeball this. As soon as it comes down and gets flat, I'll mark a hole right in the center of the magazine, and I'm going to go ahead and drill that hole out. That will be our starting point to put this together. Okay, now that I got the hole drilled in the front sheet, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that together with my back sheet, which is just a flat sheet. I'm going to put them together, kind of center them up. I'm going to mark that hole, and I'm going to go ahead and drill that out, and then I'm going to put a rivet in that to hold both pieces together. Okay, so I've got that rivet pressed in, and the 2 pieces will move back and forth, but they are attached now at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark the holes for the rest of the rivets that I'm going to put in here. And if you've got another one made, you can just use that one as a template, kind of. Especially like if you're making more than one, if you have 2 or 3 magazines for the same gun and you want them to match, then you can use your first mag pouch. You can use that as a template to mark your holes for the other ones. I either do that, or I've got a piece of metal that I use there that has all the little holes in it. I use that as kind of a guide to measure the holes. I'm just going to use the magazine that I just made, or the mag pouch that I just made. I'm going to use that one as a template. I'm just going to lay it over top of the Kydex and just look down through the holes, and I'm going to mark where all the holes are in that one. So I'm just looking down through the holes of the other mag pouch and marking the holes, and then you can kind of eyeball it, use a tape measure, yardstick, or whatever. I mean, you can do it however you want to do it. You just want to try to make sure that you get all the holes even, to where it looks a little better. If they're not laid out evenly, then it's, I don't know how your OCD is, but I like to have them somewhat symmetrical and even. So once I kind of get a little mark done, then I'll go back and I'll go over them a little bit better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill out 1 more of these holes And like I said, you can use something like just a piece of strap metal like that that's got holes in it. That's what I use a lot of times when I'm doing my very first one for a set. Then I'll use that piece of metal to mark the holes. But I'm going to go ahead and drill one of these holes out and rivet that together, and then that will keep it from moving, because right now I've only got one rivet in it, so it will move back and forth. But I'm going to go ahead and drill that top hole out and put one more rivet in it, and that will hold it together, and then I can drill the other ones out without it moving around. If I was to go and drill all the holes, then it may shift position and the whole alignment may get messed up. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this one rivet in there in the top, and then I'll have two total, and then that will hold it together from moving back and forth. And then I'll go ahead and drill out the rest of the holes. So I've got two rivets in, it won't move. I'm going to go ahead and drill out the rest of the holes now, and then we'll put rivets in those and press those in as well. Alright, and there we go. All the rivets are pressed in, and now we can start cutting the shape. So I'm going to cut around, basically cut around the rivets, and I'm going to leave at least about 1/4 of an inch around all the rivets. I don't want to get any closer than 1/4 of an inch from the rivets if possible. That way we can shape it on the sander. Okay, so there's our basic shape cut, and I can put it on the sander now and fine tune that. Okay, I normally start at the top and I even that out, flatten it out, make it even, and I want it straight across, even with those top two rivets there. And then I'm going to lay it on the side, and I'm going to go across those three rivets, trying to keep those three rivets even as I'm going down there, as I'm going down on the sander. I'm just going to try to keep those three rivets level and flat. It's kind of hard to do with my left hand around the camera here, and be careful because this stuff gets hot. But I'm just trying to even them out on each side and on the top, keeping those rivets even and level as I sand it down. And then I'll pivot it over, and I'm going to sand and keep these two rivets level as I sand that side down. And I'm going to sand it down until I'm, about 3/16 of an inch away from the rivets or so. But I just want to keep those rivets level as I'm coming down. And then I'll do these two rivets on this side, trying to keep them level as it sands down. And then once I get the thickness that I want, or the distance away from the rivets correct, then I will start rounding the edges off. Very lightly, you can just go around those edges on all the points and round those off. I mean, you can make this any kind of shape you want. You can square it off. I normally make it a little pointed at the bottom, or not pointed, but I just round it off all the way around every edge. It's got a little bit of a pointed bottom to it, but that's normally the shape that I go for. So then what I'm going to do is cut off any of the excess pieces that needs to be cleaned up just a little bit. After you get done sanding, there'll be some parts that you'll have to just take the razor blade and kind of clean it up a little bit around the edges. So after I take a X-Acto knife and clean up around the edges, I'll take a piece of a t-shirt or rag or cloth or paper towel or whatever. I'm using a toothbrush to push that up into the magazine to get all of the dust and debris out of the magazine pouch from me cutting it and sanding it. So that's what I'm doing, is just getting all the debris out of the mag pouch. A little compressed air works great. I was too lazy to turn my compressor on, so I was just cleaning it out with an old piece of a t-shirt. And then you can test fit your magazine and see how it works out. And boom, perfect. Fits perfect. Won't come out. It's locked in there good, but yet it's still, when you have it on your belt and you pull the magazine, it comes right out, but it will not fall out unless you pull it. So it's a perfect fit on this one. So my next step would be to make my little belt paddle for the back of them. Like I said, I showed you how to do that in the other video when I was making the holster. Very simple to do the belt clip part. If you want to know how to do that, then just check out that other video and that'll show you how to do that. Very, very simple to do. Then it'll be time to laser engrave all of them with whatever firearm they're for. I will put the manufacturer logo or the name of the gun or whatever. You can laser engrave whatever you want into them. I've been just doing the type of the gun that it is. That way it's easy to identify. These are very easy to make, and as you can see, I made like 20 of them in one evening. Very easy to do. That's about it. Hope it helps. We'll see you guys in the next video.